How's it hanging, fellow nerds and geeks? So after almost a year-long hiatus with no noise on this channel, how should I get back into the swing of things? Maybe a bit of legacy, perhaps a squint at recent Masterpiece or Lego affair? Ah, bugger that, mate, we're clearing up the remaining dregs of Kingdom. Because if I made anything clear by now, it's that I can't keep up with what is new or even interesting. And in the interest of rewarding you guys for your patience, I'm doing a 1-2 review of the little Autobot truckers that could. Mates, gals, and non-binary pals, say hello to Deluxe Class Huffer and Pipes. Now obviously these two have been part of the franchise since its earliest days, but I can't really think of a time where people were really demanding for new ones. They always just seem to appear as generic wave fillers, normally as a repaint of an already existing figure for a completely different toy line. But I guess with Kingdom being a time of experimentation and uniqueness, it only makes sense to power the rest of the toy line with just a couple of normal ones that won't already carry overs from the previous toy line. But nonetheless, here we go with the two small-scale not Optimuses in all their mundane glory. Now, objectively speaking, at their core, these two figures are basically the exact same item. Just your run-of-the-mill cartoony trucks that take a cue for the animation model of being a completely made-up model of trailer hauler. I mean, they apparently resemble the Volvo F88, but I honestly don't see it. And even as physical objects, these two aren't exactly perfect, with the hands poking out of the back and the knee joints visible for all the world to see. But I'm not really one to complain, because as simple as these guys are, they are really damn cute. The general shape of them is very appealingly blocky, with these giant cap sections front and center with the diamond plating in the bed. And I also can't deny the lovable charm of their respective color schemes. Huffer himself can come to the surprisingly not very gaudy orange, complete with grey and silver to keep it interesting, as well as feeling more like a surface vehicle of sorts. Meanwhile, Pipes' blue and white combo gives more of a ho-hum homogenous feel that gives the impression he could be parked right up my street right now and not draw any attention. It's also nice that the smokestacks are designed differently to give it that rugged hard worker motif that works so well with grapple or hoist. Although considering that Huffer's supposed to be the whiny pacifist, you can bet he's going to complain about it on his Twitter account. But if you want to further distinguish the two, Hasbro got you covered with accessories to fill out the back pieces. So this little winch bag comes with a weird spiked shielding you can just plug onto the back and cover up the better looking diamond plating. You can also take this little friggin' Spartan laser and split it down the middle in order to form the side panels on the back. I guess it's a pretty clever means of weapon storage, but honestly I kinda prefer the diamond plating. And it seems that Pipes would agree with me, seeing as how you want to get these two nozzle blasters that you just plug into the back. And if nothing else, you do get this unintentional rocket booster mode to take advantage of the blast effects that I've otherwise ignored for this entire trilogy. So overall, as simple as these trucks may be, there is still the same rudimentary charm that was such a signature hallmark of the OG toys. Just a pair of squat four-wheelers with distinct and different identities despite being near identical to each other. And when all is said and done, it's just nice to have a pair of Autobots who are just normal cars compared to the Lambo brothers or Wheeljack. But enough with the build-up, let's get to the good stuff. So the transformation of both of these guys is fairly straightforward, albeit with a neat little app crunch that allows the wheels to fold away nicely. I also like that Pipes' cap has a little mushroom peg to allow for toy and cartoon accuracy for the first time since actual G1. Nonetheless, here we have the pair of the closest approximation to their character models without the Masterpiece price point, and it's only fair we take a look at them individually before we make one last conclusion, starting with the guy who came first. So physically speaking, Huffer is one of the most unique looking bot modes of the original cast. All of it is basically centered around the entire front of the truck hovering over his head like some vast predatory bird, and not only is it sticking over his head, it's also poking out the back for what is arguably the most forgivable form of kibble I've seen in this franchise. Kind of the same deal with the arms, with how they are very obviously made out of the smokestacks without being too skinny. Also nice that they didn't replicate the show model with the arms just sticking out of the center of the torso. And thankfully the orange takes a backseat to the lilac-y torso front and center with the Autobot badge standing out like it ought to. The head sculpt captures the generally sour and grumpy mood we associate with him, albeit without those weird teal eyes the show model had. And really I do kind of wish the lower legs had a bit more detail to them. It's basically just some knee-high boots made out of frozen Fanta with some wheels on the side. It just makes the lower third of this guy look really dull, where the rest of it just pops. Well, at least you can break it up using the clawed shield from before and preparing him for a team slayer using his little rifle. It's pretty sad that this is closer to Halo than what Paramount has given us. But honestly, as much as I like Huffer, I think it's Pipes that's hitting all the right spots for me. Again, he's very much the same object as his orange counterpart, but he just gives off such a different vibe. For one thing, I prefer the look at the cab being twisted and folded over with the Auto brand in the upper corner. It gives him the feeling of the down-the-deep tough guy versus the nerdy eccentric collector that he actually is. The head is a neat little cube compared to the rounded pillow of Mr. Complainy over here, complete with mouth plate and bright blue eyes. And while the chest plate is certainly blockier, the little vent details help to make it feel like a living, breathing machine. Combine all of that with the instant win of the blue and white color combo, and you have yourself a neat little robot friend. Although in all honesty, the accessories don't really do him any favors in this mode. You basically just plug him into the arms with some ground-based seeker action. I guess it does make it more rugged and down to earth, but it doesn't feel as fun as the balance of defense and range that Huffer has. Oh well, it's not like Mashar Cog or 6-gun or 3. As for the obligatory portability section, we have a little ball-jointed head slightly hampered by the sculpting. Universal hinges at the shoulder with bicep rotation and a decent elbow curl. Plenty of spin at the waist, and you can kind of cheat and give it a really deep ab crunch. And all that is rounded off with universal hips, advice swivel, pretty deep knee bend, and an average ankle tilt. So I guess overall, both of these guys are neat little additions to the collection. I mean, they might be playing it a little bit on easy mode compared to the likes of like Cyclonus or Dinobot, but they still have the right amount of fun and charm that make them neat little additions in their own right. As for which one to get, I guess I'd recommend Pipes over Huffer on the basis of having prettier colors. But just like you can't have Sideswipe without Sunstreaker or Ape Face without Snapdragon, you can always just get both of them. Lord knows I did. But with that said, thanks for watching the video, and of course special thanks for your patience. But until next time, because there always will be one, this is Callum Lewis, the Media Hood, signing off.